Yes, people, and welcome back to Punches and Pundits. Now, before we start, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video on YouTube. And if you're listening to any sort of audio platform, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to download the episode. Now, without delaying it, UFC 314 was a couple hours ago, and it was Volk against Diego Lopez for the 145-pound vacant championship since Topuria vacated it. And Volk has he's become champion again. We know all the odds and all the stats and facts about fighters over 35 regaining a belt, but Volk managed to do it. And you had Volk winning a unanimous decision. I had Diego Lopez winning by knockout in the second round, and he was this close. But anyways, I'm going to start it off, right, with I'm going to congratulate Volk because the points that I'm about to make, I don't want to discredit his performance or battling the demons that he's had over the last two performances prior to this one with Topuria and Islam Makhachev getting knocked out that badly. But you know how you said in the commentary about the Anchor Live and the Pereira fight, it was unbelievably biased, right?
Yep.
I swear to you, yesterday, DC and Joe Rogan were pissing me off.
They've got their favourites.
No. They were pissing me off. Let me tell you why, cool. First round, vintage Volk. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I was not expecting this because I thought, who's going to come out the blocks quicker, right? It's going to be Diego Lopez. And we'll talk about it, whether his tactics were the right one, the right tactics, because he sort of paced himself, right? No one saw, you said unanimous decision, but if Diego Lopez would have went full pelt, it probably would not have went 25 minutes, right? But back to the biased point, I honestly felt like they were, oh my gosh. So after the first round, that's a clear 10-9 for Volk, right? They were acting like that was a 10-8, by the way.
No,
then
it was dominant 10-9.
It was a dominant 10-9.
It was a clear 10-9. It wasn't like he hurt him. He just dominated him.
But then we go into the criteria of scoring, right? Yeah. The second round, Volk was probably winning until he wasn't. Yeah, because the point is, right, he dropped him. Yeah. He dropped him.
What Joe Rogan said at the end, it was like, I know we knocked him down, but I don't think he did enough.
How is that dispute?
That was a bio. That should have been a 10-9 Lopez.
How is that dispute?
10-8 because Volk was winning.
No, of course.
But 10-9 Lopez.
That's what I'm saying.
Knockdown.
So then I'm hearing.
Win him the round.
So then I'm hearing what they're not even giving Diego Lopez the credit. Look at Topuria when Topuria fought Volk, right? The first round, arguably Volk won. So yes, Volk looked really good in that first round, and he was looking good up until he got caught. Now, if Lopez would have finished him there, we would have said, "Oh my gosh, look at Volk and look at Lopez and the difference." So that was a clear 10-9 for Lopez because he dropped him. In this fight, there was only two times that someone got badly hurt, and Lopez was the one that hurt Volk twice. Lopez, we said he was going to eat anything that Volk was going to send his way because he's tough, he's got that chin, and that's just what it was going to be, right? But honestly, so then we get to the third round that I give to Volk. Volk rallies, he got dropped, but he has a much better round. Round 4 is a clear Lopez round. It's a clear Lopez round because he uppercut.
So you're saying it was 2-2
It was 2-2 going into the fifth. But if you're listening to the commentary, I swear to you, you would have thought it was Volk would have won 4-0, 10-8. Why is Lopez even in the octagon? Yeah. He's a bum. It was pissing me off. I just had my headphones in. I was like, why am I hearing this? And then DC tweeted, he was like, no, it was a clear 4-1 win. For me, it was a 3-2, right? The fifth round, I'd probably edge it to Volk. But the clear instances...
But Lopez even had that last minute. But I agree with you, yeah, but, I've always said the commentary is a joke, We respect Joe Rogan, we respect DC, but they've got their favourites, And I remember Joe Rogan back in the day. You land a jab, he's rocked. It's a bit, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't want to say he doesn't know nothing about the sport. He does. Obviously, he does. But sometimes, with the commentary, they let their emotions get the better of them. But for me, Volk did win. It was a 3-2.
It was a 3-2.
And listen, it was impressive from Volk. He looked like the year out did him good. Everybody was talking about his chin the same. I was questioning his chin. But,
He ate.
It was clear that his chin had recovered. And it's the same Volk skill-wise. And what won Volk the fight is the technique. For me, Lopez has a better chin. Lopez is more powerful. You saw in the fight, the only times where somebody got hurt was when Lopez landed on Volk. But Lopez, for me, isn't as technical as Volk. He's not as skilled on the feet. He's not. He doesn't have the shot selection. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't. Well, he does have the speed, to be fair, but he doesn't have the timing. And Volk's just more skilled, and that's what won Volk the fight, and also experience as well.
Yeah.
Volk has been there. He's been in title fights. He's been in 5-round fights.
Also,
He knew when to grapple. He knew when to clinch. So that's what won the fight. But I think Lopez will come out of this fight. It was a valiant performance. It wasn't a shutdown the way the commentators are making it out to be. It was a close fight.
Lopez will be
had his
champion.
moments,
Lopez will be champion.
And with some adjustments, Lopez could come back. I even think possibly you could argue for a rematch. You've got Evloev, who's rumored to fight Pico. I know they're saying this.
Yair didn't do enough yesterday.
I mean, to be fair, Yair did do a lot, but the person he fought wasn't ranked, so you can't give him a title shot off that. Who else have you really got waiting? You've got Aljo, but Aljo's not.
Gene Silva.
Yeah, I mean, Gene Silva though done his thing, but I still think he needs maybe 1 or 2 more wins. But yeah, Lopez
for me proved that he's right there.
He's up there, yeah, definitely. But we already knew that though. We already knew.
No,
Lopez was
because
that
a
guy.
lot of people are like, he's a hook merchant, he's a bum, and I was like, listen.
I mean, to be fair, when he knocked down Volk, it was a 1-2. It wasn't no hook.
That's what I'm saying.
He
1-2
and he knocked him down.
But cool.
Because Volk was moving back with his chin in the air. He noticed it and he adjusted.
Bro, he was lucky. He was lucky.
It was a good fight, but to be fair, we need to give Volk his credit as well because
of
a
course.
lot of people are saying it's done. A lot of people are saying it's washed.
No.
Volk is far from washed.
Yeah, I said he needs his credit because with the demons that he had from the previous 2 fights, a year off, he's coming against someone that's a flipping monster, right? But also, if we dive into Diego Lopez's tactics, right, whether he conserves his energy for 25 minutes or he goes all guns blazing for 15, right? You could argue with both tactics, but the thing is, right, in the 4th round, he lands that uppercut. He nearly finishes Volk. He nearly finishes him because he's maintained the level of energy that he's able to land that uppercut.
But you know what sort of was interesting as well? In the 1st round when Volk took him down, I thought Lopez would do a lot more off his back. That's the only question mark that I had. I thought Lopez was a lot better than Volk on the mats. He probably still is, jiu-jitsu-wise, grappling-wise.
He didn't grapple at all. And I feel like
I just thought he should have basically showed Volk, listen, if you take me down,
it's a long day for you.
It's a long day.
He didn't go for no.
I think he just accepted being on his back and just tried to just hold,
I'll be honest, he probably
finished the round.
He fell in love with the idea of knocking out Volk because he felt like the chin was suspect.
To be fair though, if they were to rematch, Lopez just has to make a few adjustments. But then again, we know what happens when somebody becomes a champion. They get that 15% better. Volk is now going to go into his next fight a lot more confident.
Yeah, but
Volk, Volk never went anywhere. This is what I don't understand. People saying he's washed. Volk fought Makhachev the first fight. It was a close fight. 3-2 Makhachev, 3-2 Volk. I possibly give Makhachev the edge, but it was a close fight. The rematch was on like 2 weeks' notice, where Makhachev had a full camp and Volk just came in to save the card. Big mistake. Gets knocked out in the 1st round. Then he turns around and fights Topuria, a vicious knockout artist.
Once in a generation
fighter. 4 months after being knocked out cold in the 1st round. So, I mean,
I'll be honest though,
Lopez
Lopez
have to consider that.
I
now
hear that,
Volk has taken a year out, he's recovered. It's the same Volk.
I do hear that, but I feel like Lopez could have got Volk out of there. He could have.
No, but you also
because he didn't press Volk enough.
We talk about Lopez's durability, we talk about Lopez's chin. Let's respect Volk's chin as well. Volk got knocked down, recovered.
That uppercut was nuts.
He got knocked down with the 1-2, got knocked down with the uppercut, or rocked badly. And he recovered. He showed durability, he showed a good chin. And that's part of the sport. Of course, Lopez had his moments, but Volk is tough, and Volk came through it. That's the thing. It's not the same Volk that fought Topuria or Makhachev, where he's fighting Topuria after getting knocked out and fighting him after
Topuria's technique. I think Topuria's technique is just nuts.
Yeah, but Lopez is not that as technical as Topuria. Doesn't mean
he should have pressed Volk more though.
Yeah, maybe. But you could say Volk is skilled as well, and Volk was cracking him as well. He didn't hurt him. But Volk was landing some nice counters, and the first couple of rounds he kept landing that left.
I'll be honest. Volk could have swung the kitchen sink at Lopez. He was not knocking him out.
No, Lopez's chin is mad, but Lopez respected Volk's power too. I'll put it that way. But of course, Lopez can crack a lot harder. But listen, it was a cracking fight, a cracking main event. Finally, I got a prediction right. You know, I've been on
Bit of a stinky
having
streak.
stinkers, yeah. But finally, I got a prediction right.
I was close though.
Yeah, but
because I said second round
but it's not a
knockout.
bad performance from Lopez. Now I don't want people to come out and say, "Oh, Lopez is not that good." This that. You know, listen, Lopez is still that guy. Still, you could still
Who'd
say
you
he's-
give
you
him
can still say he's
next?
the second best lightweight, featherweight in the world. In
Who'd
terms
you-
of next, see the
Yeah,
featherweight
yeah?
division. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
'Cause
you've
they're
got
going to
Aljo
quite a
too.
lot.
You've got Aljo too that's hanging around. People forget about
Aljo's
Aljo.
9 though.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you've got Aljo hanging around. You've got you've got Evloev.
Evloev will probably get the
those
title
are,
shot.
those
now.
are the top guys in the division.
I think they'll make Lopez Yair. I know Yair's
What about Arnold Allen? Who's he fighting? Has he been
Arnold
scheduled to fight?
Allen, Lerone Murphy maybe.
Lerone Murphy coming off a win against Emmett. That's a good fight. Lerone is saying he's maybe one fight for title shot.
Yair's campaigning for a title shot, but we'll get into that.
Yeah,
But I don't think.
we'll talk about that. Yeah, but you can't get a title shot.
Yeah,
after
yeah,
beating
not
Pitbull.
off.
And
And
let's talk about the co-main event. I've
Oh
got
my
I've got a
gosh.
lot to say now. Yeah, because
Alright, take the floor, bro.
Paddy, as I predicted, I think Paddy would have. I said Paddy would win, and he won. But we have to. I don't want to discredit Paddy as well. I spoke
Yeah,
to,
be
I
dangerous.
spoke to Louis about this as well. But Paddy, I'm not discrediting his win. His best performance in the UFC so far, dominant performance, amazing performance, 30-27 across the board. But Chandler, for me, bro, is this guy even good, bro? No, is this the way he was built up before he joined the UFC? The way he looked in Bellator. I mean, we saw the difference between the level in Bellator and UFC, but you really see it with Chandler. Chandler is not that good, bro. This guy, what was he even trying to do yesterday? What was he trying to do? You look at the way he strikes as well. He loads up with every punch. He doesn't throw any jabs. He cannot close the distance.
Just before you continue,
Can
you
he
know,
close
you
the
know,
distance?
you know, a lot of the majority of the judges gave him the first round.
Which is nonsense. But for me, Paddy won every single round. It was a clear win for Paddy. But Chandler, bro, he doesn't even know how to close distance properly. He does this thing where he bounces in and out. He doesn't close distance. Bro, he doesn't do nothing, bro. This guy is not a top 15 fighter. You watch the way he fights. It was a horrific performance, yeah. And people talk about his low IQ. He showed it against Paddy, bro. That was horrific. He didn't do nothing. I don't think he landed a single punch worth talking about against Paddy. He took him down a few times, but couldn't hold Paddy down. Of course, he's the better wrestler, but he could not hold Paddy down. Paddy dominated in every single facet. And what a performance. He landed some lovely calf kicks early on in the fight with some beautiful jabs. I mean, he got going as well on the feet. His boxing looked good. He looked crisp. And on the mats, he gained confidence. He noticed this guy is not on my level on the ground. And Paddy just gained confidence, and just battered him. He absolutely smashed him to bits, yeah. And I think that's Chandler done, you know. I don't know who the hell Chandler fights. I don't know what Chandler's doing. I mean, you could try call out McGregor. McGregor's never coming back. But let's talk about Paddy now. And I've always said Paddy is very underrated. He may not be the most technical, but he's tough. He's very good on the mats. And he has got an amazing chin. And he can crack as well. Now, people shouldn't get a bit carried away. Of course, he called out Gaethje. He called out Poirier. He called out Charles. Now, Gaethje, I think he can beat Gaethje. Poirier, I think, is too much. And I don't think he beats Oliveira. I think Oliveira is a better version of Paddy.
I'll be honest, right? No, I'll be before
striker that can grapple. I think Charles is a better version.
Before you continue though, Paddy, and this is one of the points that I said. For me, Paddy physically, bar Islam is probably right there with the most physically imposing
He's a
150.
massive lightweight.
Bro, literally,
You just don't deep how big
Chandler
he is.
looked like a flyweight.
Yeah.
He looked like a flyweight against him.
Would you say he's a weight bully? Because you know how he goes after fights, how big he
He didn't
becomes.
balloon this time round though.
No, but usually he balloons.
I don't. Do you know what?
How much do you think he was weighing fight night, Paddy? I could say 190 easy.
Close to that.
He's
185,
huge.
190. But the point that I'm making is like, bro, he I know that when he gets a hold of people, yeah, it's not a joke. 100%. So I'll be honest, right? You're looking at the top 5 now. The matchup that I really want to see, and I know they've had a bit of bad blood right now, right? Arman Sarukian against Paddy Pimblett. Bro. Yo. The grappling level, I need to see that. Because don't get twisted, I get the Gaethje call out, I get the Oliveira call out. Charles is not coming off a loss where he has to fight number 6, you know. I get that Paddy's a big name and whatnot, but if they give the title fight to Topuria, it's just Charles is in a weird spot, right?
I think Gaethje's a better call out though. I think the Gaethje fight. Who's Gaethje gonna fight? Gaethje's just exactly. Who the hell's Gaethje gonna fight? I think the Gaethje call out's a very good call out.
Dan Hooker, he didn't call him out at all though.
Yeah, but I think he's gone past that now. I know it sounds mad, but Hooker's coming off an injury now. We don't know when he's gonna come back. I think the Gaethje fight is the fight. Now Gaethje is
why would Gaethje?
Because for me,
why would Gaethje use campaigning for Islam fight now take the Paddy fight?
He's not gonna get
Okay,
that.
but even if
And
he does,
Arman, I don't think Arman. I think Arman's holding out for the title shot as well.
what
I know.
Arman called it. Do you know they were going back and forth on Twitter?
Yeah, I mean, he said, what did he say? Arman's a what? Arman's a little rich kid.
Yeah, and that he shat his pants basically because
But I can't lie though. I'll put a little early prediction. I think Arman. I think Arman's very underrated. You know, I think Arman. Look, we saw Chandler take him down. Arman's a much better wrestler. Arman, I think, will hold him down. And Paddy looked good though. You know, so again,
think
we can't,
I'll
we
be
can't
honest.
sleep on Paddy.
I'll be honest. I think that's a very, very good fight. And not only that, we know that Arman's not getting a title shot, right? Dana White's been very clear.
Can we give Paddy respect though?
Of course,
in
bro.
terms of like,
He's
for
better
so
than
many
anyone
years,
expected.
He's not going to be. People say he's not going to get ranked. He's not a top 10 fight. At the moment, he fights a top 10. He loses. Okay, he did have some questionable performances leading up to this fight here. You know, the Jared Gordon fight, for example, where he did lose the fight, but was given the nod.
Right.
But he has evolved. He's a lot better now.
He
His
improves
striking his striker looked a lot crisper. We already knew he had a big chin, and he has the size advantage on most lightweights.
Most lightweights, yeah.
I mean, what other lightweights are bigger than him? Maybe Makachev. But even Makachev, is Makachev really bigger than Paddy? Paddy's pushing the 6 foot, and he's got a big frame. So is Makachev really bigger than Paddy? He's more skilled, but is he bigger than Paddy? I don't know. So yeah, Paddy is definitely a big. He's a problem. He's a problem, and
Poor,
you know, this is a good problem to have for
Paddy.
Dana and
Paddy
the
said
matchmakers.
he would smoke Topuria though,
To be honest, yeah,
and they've got
Topuria's
history.
more skilled. Topuria's more skilled, but it's interesting to see how Topuria looks at lightweight against bigger guys. We've seen guys come up in weight. Holloway looked unbeatable at featherweight when he was champion. Comes up to lightweight, loses to Dustin. Dustin wasn't even the champion.
Yeah, but he didn't come up properly.
Yeah, no,
He
I
didn't
understand.
even put muscle
I
mass for
understand
that
what you mean.
fight.
Yeah, exactly. It depends how Topuria comes up. If Topuria puts on the right side,
Like
the right muscle
if
mass.
he's
if
like,
he's still-
I'm never going back to
Yeah,
145.
if
like,
he's still cutting weight to make 155, then it'll be interesting. But if I was to make an early prediction, I think obviously Topuria beats Paddy. But Paddy, we cannot be slept on.
that fight.
Paddy cannot be
Wait,
slept
that
on.
fight, if they ever get to fight, would do
Crazy.
mad numbers.
Yeah, Paddy's that guy, man. Paddy, listen, people sleep on him. People think he's a
You know,
joke.
it's mad because like on the come up we had like BSD and we were thinking BSD is gonna be the guy, but actually
It's Paddy.
Paddy
Even
is that
Moicano,
guy.
people are not even talking about Moicano right now.
Yeah, but Moicano even admitted.
Does
he's
Paddy
like,
even want to fight Moicano?
No, he's past me now. You know what I'm saying? He was very open about that. Like, there's no juice for that fight anymore. And people are forgetting he dropped that knee flush on Chandler's head
Cut him
top.
open.
And that's what basically was the end of the fight. You know what I'm saying? But even in the second round, right? He was beating him up. Chandler survived to the third, but I mean, yeah, that was a domination. Like that was cold. And also you got to give.
What's the next for Chandler?
But I don't know, because are you gonna? He's always been prone to getting big fights, right? But now it's like,
That's him done, bro. In terms of big fights,
who's he gonna start fighting?
Bro,
Being
he-
a gatekeeper
I'll
on the
be
top
real,
15,
he's gonna be a fight night main event now.
or he
he's-
might
he's gonna-
retire.
He's gonna make. Who's
Who's he gonna fight? Like people like, I think someone mentioned it, but is he gonna start fighting Bohamundes and people like that? Like,
no, but it's not even that. It's the thing with bro. That performance was shocking. Like you can lose, but
and
I don't think people are deep in how poor he was last night.
yeah, and people. I mean, I get
He was
I get
poor.
yesterday, but Oliveira killed him as well
Yeah, I mean,
for the
he's
best
done-
part of
he's
23
done
minutes.
in terms of fighting the top guys. But bro, even like look at the top 15.
Yeah, but Paddy was
No,
an
but even-
unknown. Paddy was an unknown quantity.
No, but you even look at the top 15. Where does he get a win? If he fights the way he fought last night, where he doesn't close distance properly, where he just loads up, throws hooks all day long, doesn't throw no jabs,
That used
nothing.
to work though. You know how
He
you said.
worked against Hooker, but then I don't think he beats Hooker in a rematch.
No. He hurt Poirier and he hurt Gaethje.
But Gaethje loves to get in that firefight.
And he hurt
Gaethje
Oliveira,
himself is
like-
not the most technical, but
It used to work.
Oliveira, I don't know what it is. Oliveira was getting dropped by everyone, and he just ended up finishing them.
Yeah.
Everyone he beat on that run hurt him. Poirier hurt him, Gaethje hurt him. Everyone hurts him, and he just ends up finishing you. So yeah, that was sort of his thing. Even
That was his thing, isn't
it was weird. Like he just wants to get hurt. If probably
it? Just wakes him up.
wakes him up a bit. But yeah, that was
But
horrible from Chandler.
This is a great problem for
The matchmakers. Yeah.
the matchmakers for the UFC. I mean, Paddy Paddy walking the walk because he talks, but the fact that he's actually a really, 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 really skilled MMA fighter who is basically at the doors of the top 5 of the lightweight division, like killers, bro. He's Paddy's next fight, title eliminator, and then who knows? He's 2026.
100%. And he's good on the mic as well. The UFC like that. They like a guy that can fight, a guy that is good on the mic. Even post-fight, he was beefing Colby Covington in the one of the interviews. Colby wants a bit of Paddy. Everyone wants a bit of Paddy right now, so he's definitely...
Yeah, but Colby was on some funny business with that, though.
Yeah,
I won't lie to you.
Colby's Colby's not a big 170. I've said for so long, why doesn't Colby try to cut to lightweight? He can do it, I think.
You think so?
I think he can do it. I don't think there's no future for him at 170. He's not going to win the belt at 170. So I think one of his options should be to go down to 155. But that was a good co-main event, a good main event. Now another fight on the card: Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. It went how we predicted.
I said
a unanimous decision for Yair. Yair could possibly,
he could have finished him.
He could have finished.
Was it in the third that he hurt him pretty bad?
I mean, I think we need to really look into this, where we see guys become champion in other organizations. I mentioned Chandler. I mentioned I'm mentioning Pitbull now. These guys obviously done their thing in Bellator, but the UFC is a completely different beast.
The lights.
You've got a guy in Yair Rodriguez who we all know is talented, but never been a champion. Every time he makes that step up, he falls.
Just a staple in the top 5.
Yeah, he's like a top fighter, but not quite champion, and not quite champion material.
Interim champion.
Yeah, interim, but not undisputed champion. Like there were always guys that were better than him in the division. He destroyed Pitbull. Now I know Pitbull's getting on a bit; he's a bit older, but he completely destroyed him. Even in the grappling, where I thought maybe Yair might be in trouble, Yair did his thing. Yeah,
bro, that first round, I don't think Pitbull threw a punch, bro.
The UFC, Pitbull. I mean, even where does Pitbull go from here? People are talking about do the rematch him and Chandler, but Pitbull did not look good. Yair looked amazing, and it just shows the UFC is the pinnacle when it comes to mixed martial arts. Put some respect on the UFC. Don't be mentioning these champions in PFL, Bellator, Ryzen, and all these other organizations.
It's just a different level.
Do not compare them to the UFC. It's a completely different level.
It's like Asakura as well.
It's a completely different kettle of fish. Completely different kettle of fish. Right. So yeah, if Yair was to leave the UFC, he's becoming PFL champion. He's becoming Bellator. I know Bellator PFL is the same thing now. He's becoming the Ryzen champion. And any other organization out there, UFC is a completely different kettle of fish, and we saw that.
I think Pitbull just dropped a mega stinker. You're 5'5", 5'6", fighting the longer person, and you want to stay at rate. You want to stay like distance wise with Yair Rodriguez. He's just dropping body kicks from hell. Like Pitbull just he did that first round. What you're gonna say? Cool. He's making his reads. He's a 5-round fighter, right? Because he's been fighting 5 rounds at Bellator, title fights, etc. You got 15 minutes. You can't give a round up, bro. You can't. If you got 15 minutes, you can't give a round up. Even in a 25-minute fight, you don't want to do that, right? But we look at people like Peter Yan, and they're like, oh, he's downloading the information, and then he might come back and do his thing, right? But Pitbull, he wasn't even downloading information. He was just there.
I think he was confused.
Yeah,
I think he saw a puzzle in front of him that he's never seen before, and he was confused. He didn't know how to approach it. I mean, it looked like he wasn't sparring guys who are tall and rangy. It's not like he didn't know what to do. He tried to switch stances. Yeah. It was bad. It was a very poor performance. I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know what they do with him. They could possibly, Pico's in the UFC. What if they do Pico Pitbull?
I think Pico will get someone that's already been.
Yeah,
and
they were talking about Pico Evloev. They're trying to kill him off like that. I don't think that's a good fight for Pico.
Serious?
Yeah, I don't think that's a smart fight. I think Pico should just be eased in.
I think Evloev will get the next shot.
Yeah, and it's a bit disrespectful to Evloev as well, giving him a guy making his debut.
Yeah,
when he's 1 or 2 fights from a title shot.
No, he should get the fight. But Yair was campaigning for the title shot, but I don't think that as much as it was a good performance, he needs another one. Right, he just needs another one. Who that's against?
Maybe
I don't-
Lerone Murphy. That's a fun fight.
As a title eliminator, yeah.
Both coming off a win.
Yeah.
Both good matchups for the champion.
I think
Volk's already beaten, hasn't he?
convincingly,
Convincingly as well. So
convincingly.
the UFC would probably want Lerone to win.
Oh, I would have
Or you could
campaigned.
do Lopez versus
Yeah, I would have campaigned
And actually, what am I talking about? You
In
have to
Mexico.
do Lopez,
in Mexico.
Did you see the way they were talking? In
Yeah, in
the
the
press?
press.
What am I on about? Of course, Lopez is the only fight to make, actually.
And there's a pay-per-view in Mexico.
pay-per-view in Mexico, and
320.
they've got a bit of beef as well. There's some backstory. They were speaking in Spanish. I don't know what they were on about.
Basically, it was similar to Artem Lobov and Khabib type situation.
One of them slapped their teammate.
Yeah, basically pressured the teammate, and they didn't like it. And
That's a
whatnot.
fight. That's a good fight to make. There's bad blood there already.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Pitbull goes. I mean, at least Chandler, when he arrived at the UFC, he knocked out Dan Hooker. So then that opened the floodgates to like big fights. But that was a very underwhelming. And he nearly got finished.
You know what's mad? Didn't Pitbull fight at 155 in Bellator as well?
Mm-hmm.
I think he did, or maybe it was his brother. But imagine him at 155, 5'5". He'd get eaten alive, bro.
I mean, Volk looked decent against Islam, and he was 5'6"
Yeah, but
the first
Volk-
time round.
for
But
me-
I
for
hear
me-
what you're
for me,
saying.
Volk looks a lot bigger than Pitbull. Though. Pitbull does not even look big.
Yeah.
So,
But
that was a poor performance from Pitbull. Amazing from
Mo, let's move swiftly to I was sitting right here, right?
Yeah.
Looking at the camera, saying, bet your house. Bet everything you got that Gene Silva is gonna destroy Bryce Mitchell.
I can't really talk too much right now.
Bro, I said, what did I say? I said he was gonna do him worse than what Josh Emmett did, yeah? And
You could say
you could arguably say it was
Yeah,
worse
you could
because
say it
it
was
was for a longer
He
time.
got battered.
You got smoked, bro.
You know what it is? Like I was watching that fight, I was thinking, I thought Bryce started alright the first minute. like he was sort of backing off, landing a few jabs. He was landing a few nice kicks to the body, oblique kicks to the knee. He was doing his thing, but the moment he shot, the way John Silva defended
Stuffed that.
and
Yeah, I
then
know, man.
and then Bryce's confidence.
Because
went
you
straight.
said you think Bryce was the
Yeah.
better grappler.
Yeah,
He's
I
not.
mean, no, I mean, he probably is the best grappler, but he doesn't have the takedown. He doesn't have.
I don't, bro.
John Silva has a takedown defense.
But he
showed it.
submitted him, bro.
Yeah, I mean, no,
Bro,
I hear
no,
that.
no.
I hear-
But Bryce
no, he submitted him. No, you're right. But
Bryce is not a better grappler than Gene Silva, bro.
Yeah, I
He was
mean,
not a better fighter.
yeah, that was it was.
And
John
you-
Silva, like the way he fights, you could see he puts 100% into it.
But also, he's taking a piss, bro.
Yeah, he was mocking him.
Bro, he wasn't even looking. He was like this,
the
like.
first minute he just pointed at his leg like, "Come shoot then." And then,
Bro, he's
yeah,
disrespectful.
Yeah,
And he put him to sleep, bro.
he completely dominated him. Bryce's confidence was just falling as the fight went on. Every time he'd shoot, Bryce.
But
Gene
Mo,
would
I'll
defend
be
it.
honest. It's less about Bryce and more about Gene Silva.
Yeah, no, Gene would defend it. And of course, that was an amazing performance from Gene. But it's a thing where Gene made Bryce lose confidence. And you could see as the fight went on, there was only going to be one winner. And yeah, it was a very, very good performance from Gene. A fight
But the
that I
fact that he
predicted-
submitted him.
I got it wrong. I have to put my hands up. Gene Silva. I didn't know. To be honest, I didn't say Gene is. I said Gene will probably win, but don't sleep on Bryce. But yeah,
Sleep on Bryce,
is the one.
bro.
Bryce is the one I got put to sleep.
Yo. What did I say? I said sleep on Bryce. They don't even belong in the octagon together, bro. Because I'm not trying to be funny. If Silva wasn't like doing as many, if he was, bro, I know this is part of his gimmick, like when he's fighting and whatnot. But if he was even more lasered in, I wasn't taking a piss. I promise you, like Mitchell would have got flattened within 5 minutes, bro. He was all, you know what I'm saying, bro. After he stuffed a few of the takedowns, Bryce Mitchell's eyes changed, bro.
His game plan's gone. His whole game plan was dependent on stay on the feet a bit and take him down. If you can't take the guy down, your game plan's out the window. So that's what it was. I mean, Gene Silva's a problem. And listen,
But he's more than a problem,
who
bro.
does Gene Silva fight now? Because
Hey.
Bryce is a decent name at featherweight.
Well, look,
He's
look.
not-
Topuria, when Topuria fought Bryce, he got Josh Emmett next, and then he got the title fight, right? So he's
But
kind
Josh
of
Emmett is sort of coming off a loss now as well.
Right.
I wouldn't even do the Josh Emmett fight. I mean,
Let me get the featherweight rankings up.
what if you do Pitbull versus John Silva?
No,
I mean, I know it's
he's not even ranked.
It's feeding Pitbull to the walls, but Pitbull's coming off a loss to Yair Rodriguez.
I know, but Silva's gonna
I
be
know
ranked.
he's not ranked.
You know, Gene Silva's gonna be ranked 12. Bro, he needs a
Why
top.
don't you do Arnold Allen or something? Or
You wanna, bro?
I know, but you've got to give him a name. You've got to give him someone that's been around. Where's Calvin Keita? Is he even ranked?
Nah, I don't think so. Chikatse maybe.
Chikaze's, I think he's been scheduled to fight somebody. Chikaze.
Oh, nah, you would have.
Aljo.
Brian Ortega, bro.
That's actually a good shout. Ortega's not scheduled to fight anyone right now. You've even got Aljo that's available. You've got some names there. So the UFC, they need to give him a name now. Don't be giving him some scrubs. John Silva he's a problem, and he may be the captain of the fighter notes. He may be the guy, you know.
You think so?
He may be the guy. That performance was amazing, bro.
Well, so last time round it was Rufy. Now it's back to John Silva.
Yeah.
And if Prates knocks out Gary,
That's another thing. I was listening to Ariel this morning, and he said it was an amazing card, but the only thing that was missing was the Prates Jeff Neal fight. I know they've been scheduled to fight later on in the month, but I just wish we got to see Prates and Jeff Neal last night. That would have been amazing.
it would have been a movie. I won't lie to you.
Overall, I mean, the main card, it was a solid main card. I think the main card lived up to their expectation. It was a very, very, a lot of good performances, and they all lived up to it. I mean, we had a lot of finishes, a lot of dominant wins. It was good. I mean, even another fight that we haven't mentioned, Krylov versus Reyes. You see that clinical performance, bro? You look like McGregor, prime McGregor. Do you see the way he slipped?
That left hand was crazy.
But Reyes has always had this ability. We even said Reyes, we know how good he
issue,
is.
right?
It's a confidence and it's a chin thing. But Krylov wasn't that guy. As you predicted, Krylov wasn't the guy to test his chin. And it was a very good performance from Reyes. And with Reyes, and now he's on a bit of a run now. Is it 4 wins in a row now? Or 3 or 4 wins? Three wins in a row. So, yeah, he's on a bit of a run. If he can kick on, it's good for the lightweight, heavyweight division to have a guy like Reyes. Because they don't have many names up there. They don't have many top fighters, if we're being real.
Yeah, that finish was that finish was nasty. I'm
it was a good
thinking
finish.
about it because my prediction was, I thought
you don't think Krylov's you said Krylov. You don't think Krylov will be that guy to test Reyes' chin.
And I said I think he would put on a clinic for 15 minutes, or I could see a TKO. But that was, you know what? When you're on a spot like that, because that fight was not originally meant to be on the main card, right? Because Prates and Neal dropped out. So when you get opportunities like that, Reyes is a big name. He is a big name. He's known. If you watch MMA,
he's known for being robbed against Jones. That's what he's known for.
Yeah.
That fight.
But whenever you're the first fight of, the main cards, you kind of want to make a statement because everyone are tapped in and watching, and that's what he did, man. First round finish, boom, Krylov flattened, and I'm looking at the light heavyweight division now. Jamal Hill and Roundtree's been rebooked, right, for Baku, first event in Azerbaijan.
You know what's weird though? That's the main event, but you've got a guy in Fizayev who's actually from Azerbaijan, not being the main event. Ain't that a bit weird? That's very odd to me. Why are you not making Fizayev the main event?
Do you think? Wait. Do you think Fizayev against Bahamondes is worthy of a main event?
I just think you make the home fight the main event. To be honest, talking about Fizayev, why don't you do Paddy Fizayev? That's another name to throw in there.
Well, he's booked now.
Yeah, to be honest, you're right. He's booked.
And
but that's just another name to throw out there. I mean, there's options.
I'll be honest though. I feel like Fizayev.
So Fizayev beats Paddy.
That would be a great fight though, because Fizayev's gonna throw the mad kicks. But grappling wise, it might be a long day for Fizayev. But I'm just saying, I think Fizayev beats Bahamondes.
Would you say Paddy's top 3 grapplers or top 4 grapplers?
Yeah, bro.
I'd put Makachev ahead of him.
Yeah.
I'd put Oliveira ahead of him. Even Sarukian possibly ahead of him. And I'd say he's number 4 right there.
I'll be honest here. Charles is my guy. Yeah. But
Charles has the most submissions in
I know. But Paddy, I think Paddy's probably physically stronger than Oliveira. Yeah. I think that Paddy
pure jiu-jitsu though.
No, I still edge Oliveira.
And even wrestling.
I still edge Oliveira, but pure jiu-jitsu, Paddy's right there though.
Yeah, he's no pure jiu-jitsu. You could say he's top 2, top 3. But I'm talking the whole grappling, so wrestling, jiu-jitsu, the whole game.
That's why I want to see the Arman match up so much, because the scrambles would be crazy, right? And then on the feet they're fairly even, no? Arman's got hands. He does.
Yeah. But Arman isn't the most technical as well. Paddy's getting more technical. Paddy looked technical last night.
Paddy's
Jab
improved.
looked good.
Paddy's
Calf kick was doing
I know.
problems.
Paddy's improving every single.
Yeah.
That's the sign, right? That's the sign of a real, true, good fighter, right? Every time he's fighting, you see improvements in his game. You know what I'm saying? That was probably the biggest thing with Topuria, right? When he goes into camp and comes back, it's just like this guy is just different. Like, a lot of people stagnate in this game, right? A lot of people, you know what you're gonna get. That was another thing with Volk in his title reign. So how can this guy get better? Boom, he gets better. Islam, how can this guy get better? He adds hands. He's knocking people out. So Paddy is on a trajectory where he's improving, and ultimately he's got real, true belief that he is the best 155er on the planet, right? Right here, right now, we say, no, of course not. Islam's that guy, right? But we also, but a lot of us,
in himself. He believes he beats all those guys.
I know,
he beats
and also,
Makachev.
we never thought he would be basically top 5. When he came into the UFC, or when he basically lost to Jared Gordon, according to a lot of people, there's no way in hell we would say he would kill Michael Chandler and be on the doorstep of top 5. Come mid-20s.
After that Jared Gordon fight, I was thinking, yeah, he's not that guy. I mean, even Bilal, I think he was taking a mick a bit, but he tweeted Chase Super. Chase Super won early on.
Yeah.
And he said Chase Super would beat Paddy, which is a bit...
Yeah,
mad.
and then Bilal tweeted another, put something out, and he's like, Islam's got a new contender.
100%.
So...
Look, people just don't like Paddy, but put that to the side and look at him as a fighter. Look at what he is doing in the cage. You have to respect him. And he is undefeated. I mean, in the UFC, he's undefeated. So respect the guy until he loses. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're writing him off already.
Do you know what as well?
Treat him as you would treat another contender who's on.
Do you know what as well? Yeah, and this was one of the points that I wanted to make. Right, I see real similar. I'm not just talking about fighting style, right? But I feel like there's real similarities between Paddy and Dricus du Plessis, in the sense where Dricus du Plessis has been a guy that's been doubted.
That's a good point.
That's been doubted. That's, you know, he's awkward, unorthodox. Is he though anymore? Because he's just beating everyone that's in front of him, and he became champion.
Exactly.
He's further along. He's a defending champ. But I'm just saying,
same with Paddy,
how many times does Paddy have to beat someone? Right. I feel like obviously the Bobby Green one was like, whoa, okay, this is. Let's pay attention, right? Yesterday, even more so. But like,
what more does he have to do? You're right. He's unorthodox, and it's a case where he may not be pretty on the eye, but he's getting wins. And it's the same with Dracus on the come up. It may not be pretty on the eye, but he's getting wins, and it will get to a point where he's beating your favorite fighters.
Yeah.
And are you gonna still say he's not?
Yeah, rubbish? That's what I'm saying. He's beating your favorite fighters, bro.
Are you gonna still say he's rubbish? So what if Paddy calls out Gaethje? What if he gets a Gaethje fight next and smokes Gaethje? Are you still gonna say, oh, he's rubbish? Come on. You have to respect him.
Yeah, you have to.
And I reckon if he fights Gaethje, he probably goes into the fight as a favorite.
Serious?
Look at the way he beat Chandler, bro. No one's people have beaten Chandler, but he battered Chandler, bro, for 3 rounds. Chandler did nothing.
Oliveira didn't finish Chandler, bro.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I was thinking he might submit him. He might be the first guy to submit Chandler.
No, Poirier submitted.
Poirier submitted him, but it's a case where he even though Poirier submitted him, Poirier didn't beat him the way Paddy beat him.
No, you lost like a. But Poirier got hurt by Chandler.
Paddy just Paddy's
that's why Poirier was working the desk yesterday, which, by the way, I think he does a great job. Yeah. And I know that this is going to be his last fight. It's rumored to be Max Holloway in New Orleans for the BMF. I know we all know how you feel about the BMF, but that's probably.
You know what? Just because of that, I want Dustin to win the BMF and just take it with him. Retire, take it with him. We don't want to see it again because it's nonsense to BMF. You know it's nonsense. Bro.
Yeah. But that's what it's looking like. But yeah, he was working the desk, and he a lot of the guys on the desk were like, yeah, I mean, Chandler was at a crossroads, right? And it was a thing where he had to win. He had to win, and they leaned towards giving Chandler, you know, the edge, and he was just like, raw, like Paddy, that was a statement. You know what I'm saying? That was a statement. And when the lights are bright like that, that's what the point that I'm trying to make. When the lights are bright like that, when you have to back up all your talk, when you're undefeated in the UFC.
Was it not his first 5-rounder? Actually, it wasn't his first 5-rounder, but...
It was. In the UFC,
was it
yeah.
your main event, though? In London or something?
No, he's
First main event ever. Well, it's not. Anyway.
it was always Aspinall.
Yeah. So yeah, first 5 rounds.
But this is what I'm saying. This was first 5 rounds, yeah. And that's what I'm saying with Topuria as well. It's like these sort of guys were like every time they're out, they're undefeated. That's why Khabib is so great. The extra pressure of like this guy's never lost, bro. Well, Paddy's lost, but I'm saying in the UFC, what is he? He's 7-0 in the UFC now, no?
But he's legit.
Other than Islam, he's got the longest win streak in the lightweight division, bro.
It's gonna get to a point where if he keeps winning, Makhachev cannot ignore him, and he has to fight.
Oh, if he wins his next fight against whoever it is, you can't ignore him.
Yeah, exactly.
And Makhachev wants new blood, and hey, Makhachev v Paddy, you know what that brings.
And now you've got Topuria in the mix,
bro.
The lightweight division is back. Bro.
You know how we were talking about 170 last week, and we're like,
the lightweight division's back.
Boom, with Paddy's performance.
But the reason why we said that was because it's the same faces: Dustin Poirier, Gaethje, even Sarukian's becoming a familiar face. Oliveira's been around how long? It's just the same faces fighting each other. Do you know what I mean? So now that you've got some fresh blood, you've got Topuria coming up. You've got Paddy, who's on a bit of a run now. It's good. This is a good thing for the UFC. We want evolution. We want the fighters to evolve. We want the contenders to get opportunities and keep the division moving. So.
Yeah, we have seen some fresh new blood where it's like these guys are different. Like
Rufy as well.
Rufy, I mean, they might feed Dariush to the wolves, bro.
Yeah.
They give him Rufy.
Wait, even has that been confirmed or in talks?
That's
rumors.
That Rufy said that's the fight that he wants.
I mean, what if you do Rufy versus Chandler just to make Rufy look good? Just to make Rufy look good, because you know what Rufy will do to Chandler.
You think he knocks him out? Murder.
Guaranteed, bro.
Oh, so you're saying like
unless Rufy has a stinker and just gets clipped, no chance. You see the way Chandler fights, bro? He's man-made for a sniper like Rufy.
Nah, I don't disagree.
There's a few good points. I mean, Chase Super done his thing.
What Dan Ige against Sean Woodson.
Yeah, early stoppage, but Dan Ige was 2-0 up, 2-0 up though. Apparently
he wasn't 2-0 up
on the cards.
Though. I know, but
he wasn't though. But on the cards, he was. So it gets rid of that controversy where even if his opponent survived.
But you got to give credit. Dan Ige landed the smack that hurt him. But yeah, it was definitely an early stoppage. But you got to land the smack. You got to land the punch to make your opponent do the chicken dance and make the referee have to make a decision, right? So you have to give Dan Ige. And he was at a crossroads as well. You know what I'm saying? He was fighting someone outside the top 15. Dan Ige has been a staple in the top 15. You know, he's fought the who's who. And he's
a veteran. He's been around so many years now. He's a top fighter. But yeah, other than that, there wasn't really any.
Well, there's probably Zhang Wei Li's next opponent. That's been confirmed. Jandy Roba against Yan Xiaonan. Jandy Roba's jiu-jitsu is not a joke, bro.
No, it's not.
She's very good.
I'm never picking against Wei Li again.
Oh, no. Wei Li would beat her.
I can't lie to you. After my last prediction, I can never.
Who did you say? Tatiana Suarez.
Oh,
my gosh.
Yeah.
I remember that.
She got destroyed.
Bro, Zhang Wei Li.
Yeah.
No, Zhang Wei
Li, I can't lie. I'll never. But speaking of women fighters,
Amanda Nunes
got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I was just watching the highlights, yeah. Carla Nunes was a problem, you know.
Oh my god! She was a problem, bro.
No, she might be. I mean, she is a goat for women.
She's a female goat, of course.
But then I don't see anybody overtaking her. At one point, Shevchenko, but I don't even know what's up with Shevchenko.
And people would argue maybe what the impact that Ronda Rousey had on women's MMA.
Ronda gets disrespected as well.
But what Nunes did to Rousey, bro, she killed her, bro.
I mean, Nunes was a problem, but apparently Nunes might come back if Kayla Harrison beats Juliana Pena, which is another fight that was announced. Along with O'Malley versus
oh shit
Marab
yeah we didn't even talk about that.
These are a few fights that have been announced. They also introduced Pico to the UFC crowd and to the media. So yeah, the UFC are making some moves. If we speak on Pena versus Kayla Harrison, that's an interesting fight. I mean, of course Kayla is a lot bigger. Kayla used to fight 145, 155 even. She's massive.
She'll try
background. But this is an MMA fight, and Pena is extremely tough, extremely durable. Nunes couldn't even knock her out. So we know what kind of fighter Pena is, but skill-wise, I've got to give Harrison the edge.
Especially on the floor, right?
Yeah, so I'll probably give Harrison the edge, probably predict her to win.
Is it? When is that fight for?
Than people think.
3:15. They've added it, no? Yeah, it's for 3:15.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But yeah, but they've also introduced Marab versus O'Malley too, which is which is a hard fight to predict for me because you've got to give Marab the Merab will be the favorite, but what O'Malley are we gonna get? O'Malley hasn't fought for a while, you know.
But
Sometimes that's a good thing.
no.
Sometimes that's a
Well,
bad
we look
thing.
at Volk.
But Volk got knocked out cold though. Volk had to take.
I know, but apparently
O'Malley
O'Malley's
never
dropped. He's dropped out all his vices. He's not smoking anymore. He's lasered
Has
in,
he
bro.
been out and training, been lasered in, as you just said, or has he been out and just I don't know.
But I'll be
It's
real.
very-
I'll
because
be
a
real.
guy like Merab who's been active,
Yeah.
who's on a run right now,
Mm.
it might not be smart to be sitting out for that long.
I'll be honest though. At the same time, you gotta respect it in the sense where, cool, obviously, Sean O'Malley would want the title shot and stuff. But if Sean O'Malley loses again, his star power takes a massive hit because he would have lost two. He would have lost twice
It's never good to lose twice to the same person.
to the same
Especially
person,
in the
bro.
UFC.
You know what I'm
There's only
saying?
one belt. So yeah.
So that's that is the biggest fight of Sean O'Malley's career. He's gonna have to be on point. His takedown defense gonna have to be. But this is what I'm saying as well. This is the problem. You're fighting wrestlers. We saw it with Pereira and Ankalaev. You saw it a bit yesterday as well with Lopez and Volk, because Volk was grappling. Volk was pretend grappling. He got 9 out of 10 of his takedown stuffed, right? But he introduced wrestling, which, slowed down Lopez a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying.
Drop your
If
hands.
he's so focused about the takedown defense, he might forget about throwing hands. You know what I'm saying? It happened with Sanhagen and Umar. You're so worried about the takedown defense, which you stuff, that you're not landing as much hands as you should. So he needs to focus on his takedown defense. Of course he has to, but he needs to focus about landing that one. Pull back right hand, whatever it takes, on Merab's chin. I mean, Merab is a zombie, right? The only time I've seen him nearly finish was against Marias, and that was a crazy fight. But like I said, it's for all the marbles. It's the biggest fight of Sean O'Malley's career. Who else is on that card? No, so the Kayla Harrison Pena is for that card. Yeah, that's UFC 316. Rumors for 317 is Hamzat DDP.
Can't lie.
That needs to happen this summer, man.
We have to see Hamza against DDP, and that's the only fight.
But
and Dana's already said that's the fight. DDP wants to fight. Chimaev wants to
did
fight.
you see
have to make it.
Imavov and Baralho?
Yeah, I want to speak on actually. Imavov is just talking rubbish. He's talking about, Baralho, you've got to get one more win. But listen, Adesanya just gave you an opportunity. You were in a very similar position to Baralho where you weren't in the top 5.
So you're gonna wait.
If Izzy had the courtesy to give you the opportunity, why can't you have the same courtesy?
No, but it's
courtesy?
not. It's
You're
not
not getting the
just-
titles next.
That's what I'm saying.
You're not getting next.
Who wants to be inactive in your prime,
Stay
bro?
active. Fight Baralho.
That-
And
that-
if you beat
the fact-
Baralho, you're guaranteed the shot.
And that fight's got more hype because Baralho's not a joke, bro.
No joke. Fight and nuts. So, yeah, I mean,
know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
really like that from Imavov. I don't really like that stuff. Like, it's
Just fight Baralho
yeah,
because
it's very...
Whittaker. There was rumors
It's a
about.
weird, it's a weird culture, like, where some of these fighters, when they get close to the title shot, they're like, no, I'm not going to give people opportunity.
Yeah.
Izzy just gave you the opportunity. Literally, your last fight, same position.
Did you see they pulled Gilbert Burns and Morales? That's not on 315 anymore. That was probably one of the fights I was looking forward to the most. And they've moved it to Apex main event. But yeah, the next...
What do you think of the Apex? Are you a fan of the Apex? I'm not a fan, you know.
Nah, not anymore, man.
Bro, it's a little...
Not anymore. But I get that it's convenient and whatnot.
I mean, the UFC are cutting costs, of course.
But
They save a
in
lot
the
of money doing
Apex,
that,
in the
but-
Apex, you could really put stinkers.
Yeah,
bro.
but why like some top fighters are being put in the Apex? It's like
Yeah.
you need a crowd there. Like you want to build a relationship with the fans,
Mm.
and you've only got media and like family that go to the Apex.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the Apex at all. But yeah, it's
I mean, the next two events coming up, Gary Prates and Sanhagen Figueiredo. Man, that Gary Prates fight.
is that on the same card?
What?
Gary.
No. It's the Sanhagen Figueiredo is the following week. First week of May. Bro, but
Early
both these...
predictions. Gary versus Prates. I've been thinking about this. Yeah.
I think Gary probably...
Yeah, I can't lie. You've got to give Gary, but then I don't want to. I think Gary would win, but then I won't be surprised if Prates does his thing as well because Prates is skilled, man. It's just
I tell you
the
what,
only
if
question mark is it's a 5-round fight, and Prates, does he live the life? Does Prates?
that
Yeah. I mean, he's smoking, he's drinking, that party life. I'm fighting 5
When you
rounds.
get to the top
that
top
doesn't
10,
work together.
yeah,
And
when you get to
when
the
you're in
top
the top 10, top 5, you have.
But
to
then
live
again,
the
John
life.
Jones was snorting cocaine, and
But Jones, like you said with Ilya, is a once in a lifetime fighter.
yeah, true.
He's the so Jones is a freak of nature. So yeah, Jones could do whatever. Jones could go into a fight, no camp, and still win. It's John Jones.
And
Yeah.
that's another fight this summer. Right? John Jones, Aspinall. I know we talk about it all the time, but that needs to get made. Imagine they make a card. No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't stack it to the point where they put Jones, Aspinall, and DDP.
Nah, they wouldn't do
Hamza.
that.
Yeah,
But they still stack it, but
not to that extent.
not to that extent.
Yeah.
Because DDP, if
Hamza-
DDP was fighting someone else, maybe, but because he's fighting Chimaev, that is a main event. That's got Abu Dhabi written all over it. Main event. Do you know what I mean?
You think so?
Yeah, it's just the way Chimaev trains out there. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if
Or Vegas. possibly.
DDP is the champion, bro. Why would he
Yeah,
want to
but-
travel?
but
Because
who-
you know it's
But
gonna be
who's
heavy.
But who's the bigger name?
Hamza.
Hamza's the bigger name.
But then Islam always fights there.
Yeah.
And Sanhagen Figueiredo as well. Fuck, that's a great fight.
That's a great fight. I think Figueiredo's very underrated. Sanhagen will go into the fight as a favourite, but don't sleep on Figueiredo. And Figueiredo can
Who did
grapple.
Figueiredo lose to last time round?
Did he not win?
No, he's on a loss. He's on a loss. Figueiredo's 37. Holy.
Yeah, but yeah, he's been in some wars as well, you know. So he's probably but
Oh, Peter Yan.
yeah, he lost to Peter Yan.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Peter Yan is calling out Umar. He wants to fight Umar.
Umar's
recovering from the.
I
surgery.
know
think he had
exactly.
surgery on his
Umar's
hand.
saying that it might take a little while for him to be ready to come back. But that, I mean, hey, he was saying Azerbaijan, but maybe they do it in Abu Dhabi in October. But I mean, it's April now. That's kind of far away.
And Kalaev came out recently and pretty much confirmed they're doing a rematch.
In Chicago,
Probably
maybe.
the worst kept secret. Of course, they're doing a rematch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, talk about all the marbles. Like, that's another fight. I mean, Pereira, if he loses again, like,
he's getting on a bit as well. Pereira's 37, 38.
yeah,
He can't afford to
you
lose.
can't afford, bro.
If he loses, he probably goes up to heavyweight
Mm,
and just tries it out there. But
yeah.
even if he does lose, he's had a good run, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Hall of Fame, guaranteed Hall of Fame.
I think he's the quickest to get to the Hall of Fame in the short.
Do you know that might be a good point.
Yeah, I mean, how many fights did it take for him to win a belt? Did you not fight Izzy in his third fight or something like that? Or his
So he
second fight?
fought the Greek guy. He fought Silva,
He fought. Did he not fight
Strickland. Fourth fight, I think.
In his fourth fight, he was undisputed champion.
Fourth fight,
Then lost the rematch. Then went up and became champion
Mm,
in two fights. I think he fought Yan. Then he fought for the belt.
mm.
He's a freak.
Just before we wrap up, so overall UFC 314. How would you?
I'd give it a 8.5.
Do you know what? Helwani.
It was a good card.
Did you just make the point where you said Helwani was just saying
I
that
was listening to his
that
book
Prad-
coming in.
the Prates and Neil
Yeah.
would have just tipped it over the edge? Because
It would have, you know.
if Prates
Because
would
you know, Prates would have handled Neil.
you think so?
I think he would have handled him.
It's just Gary's a step up from Neil, isn't it?
Yeah.
I tell you what though,
And it's a
I
five rounder. The Jeff Neal Prates wouldn't have been a 5 rounder.
how did you say you rank the fighting nerds?
I've got to switch it up now though after John Silva's performance. I still say Rufy won because of pure talent and ability, but number 2, yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one.
Bro, they're all so good. Because
Yeah.
Barradio is a flipping monster, and then Prates.
Yeah,
Prates-
Prates is that guy though. I'd say 1 Rufy, 2 John Silva, 3 Prates, 4 Barradio. But I know it's messed up. You could flip it and it still makes sense. 1
Literally.
Barradio, 2 Prates, 3 John Silva, 4.
Because you got to think Barradio's in the top 5.
Yeah, it's just Rufy's performance. Like, you know the eye.
Do you know what?
You know,
I hear
you
what
know,
you're
you
saying.
know how they talk about the eye test in football.
Right.
You got that for MMA fighters as well.
Mm.
You just look at it from an eye test point of view. You
Yeah.
just look at Rufy, you could see he's special, and look at Chandler, you could see he doesn't know what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
No, I mean,
look at just the eye test.
Rufy passes the eye test, but
100%.
Gene Silva,
He also passes the eye test, but I just think.
but
Rufy
he's more like Rufy's more like.
Rufy's a sniper, and you can't
Rufy's
touch
like
him.
this. John Silva is like he'll bark at you,
Yeah.
then throw a punch at you.
Rufy's like an assassin.
Actually, they added a
sniper.
fight to 315 that I wanted to talk about, yeah. And I'm gonna get ahead of the curve. Is BSD is matched up against Joe Alvarez. Yeah, you see who Joe Alvarez is? You have an idea? He fought Arman Sarukian a couple years back. Sarukian killed him, bro.
But has he evolved since then?
Bro,
He's a different guy now.
he's evolved. He's on the cusp.
What's his win streak?
Is it on UFC 315? Where have they added it? I know BSD Alvarez. I know it's I saw it on Twitter.
Has BSD fought since the Moicano loss?
No.
Yeah, that's not good, you know.
Yeah, they confirmed it. BSD v Alvarez. Oh, it's not a confirmed bout. But I hope it
Rumored
is.
to happen.
Yeah, but Alvarez, bro, they feeding BSD to the wolves, bro. Cause I'm telling you, who did Alvarez fight last time round? And I was like, ugh, that was sickening. Cause he's on a knockout streak as well, bro. He's like,
You see what they did to Anthony Smith
who?
in his last fight? You know who he's been scheduled to fight?
Anthony Smith, the Chinese.
I think his name's Zhang or something.
Yeah.
They're trying to murder him, bro. Talk about
feeding to the wolves. I know.
I think they want him to retire, bro. You know how he said he's gonna? He keeps saying I'm gonna retire. The UFC like, mate, after this fight you have to retire.
Yeah. Okay, so on his UFC resume, he's beaten Thiago Moises. He lost to Tsarukian, Mark Jakise, Elvis Brenner, and Draco Close. So he fought in December on that card. And he's on a 3-fight finishing streak. But I'm pretty sure he's getting a shot into the top 15 against BSD. And I'm here to tell you, that's probably a murder, bro. BSD. Just like I said, Gene Silva, murder against Bryce Mitchell. I'm here to say, if Alvarez is fighting BSD, put all your money on Alvarez. That is a murder, bro. Murder. Quick. Snuff. So, there you go. If you want to make some money, you know what I'm saying? Believe me.
Did you bet on this card?
I did, yeah. And Lopez is the one that let me down, bro. That's why I was pissed.
But Gene Silva, what were the odds? Like, was Gene Silva a favourite going into the fight?
Bro,
he wasn't.
Mad favourite, bro.
Yeah.
You're out here saying Bryce Mitchell trying to give him, yeah? Nah, he got touched up. Listen,
who was the favourite? Volk was the favourite, innit?
Volk was the favourite. Not by much, though.
Yeah.
Not by much. And when Lopez knocked him down, I was like, second round knockout, bro. Yeah, nah, but it is what it is. It was a good card. And the next two fight nights, they're juicy. 315 is a bit of a letdown. But it is what it is. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to watch out for the clips of this episode. They'll be on TikTok and Instagram at PunchesandPundits. And we'll see you lot soon. See you later.